The spiritual teacher, we'll call him Osho, um, told so many stories. He must have been an incredibly well-read person before he became a real well-known teacher, because it's unbelievable how many things he talked about. And the one story that came to mind Osho told was the story about a monastery. And what happened was a young woman got pregnant. And she didn't want to get her boyfriend in trouble with her father. So when her father asked her, "Who fathered your child?" The young woman lied. And she said, "It's that monk at the monastery up the hill there." Well, time went on, and the father um, pretty much bought the story that it was the monk. Now, no one would really believe that a monk in a monastery is going to father a child with a young woman. But um, when the child was born, the father picked up the child and ran up to the monastery wall, uh, clanged the bell at the door, and waited. And the monks, oh, I guess it was a monk, came and opened the door. The father handed over the infant child to the monk and said, "It's your child, you look after it," and walked away. The monk said to himself, "Ah, so." Took the infant child into the monastery, and the monks looked after the infant. Quite a long time later, the doorbell rang again, and the monk went out, opened the door, and it was the father of the young woman. He said to the monk, um, "I finally got the truth. I understand you're not the father of this child, and that my daughter lied about it. I want the child back." The monk looked at the man and said, "Ah, so," and went and fetched the young infant child, wrapped it up in lots of blankets, and handed it over to the man who had originally brought it to the monastery. What is the meaning of "ah, so"? It almost sounds like asshole, but it's not. "Ah, so" is an expression that says, this is the way it is in the universe for me right now. Now, the spiritual teacher Joel S. Goldsmith had great advice about um, the spiritual. That's somebody else that said the spiritual solution to everything. I'm not sure who it was. It might have been Wayne Dyer. There's a spiritual solution for every problem. I think that's what it was, and I'm pretty sure it was Wayne Dyer. But That's not the one I was talking about. I was going to go to Joel S. Goldsmith. And Goldsmith said, the best spiritual solution to any problem is to not get into a verbal barrage with someone. In other words, if the monk had looked at the man with the young infant and said, "You asshole, that's not my child," and slammed the door of the monastery, well, that wouldn't be the enlightened thing to do, because the man didn't want the child and it wouldn't be good for the child. So they took the child in and they looked after it, and the child was safe. And it took quite a bit of time before the daughter finally owned up to who really fathered the child. And her father then went to fetch the infant. Goldsmith said one time he was traveling in Africa, and the plane landed at an airport, and lo and behold, they had lost his luggage. What did he do? From his own teachings, it's basically go to silence. Silence your mind. Don't run your lips. Don't run your mouth. I mean, I'm sure he would do the basic thing and basically, tell the desk, yeah, this is me. My name is Joel Goldsmith, and I'm staying at the Hotel Ritz downtown. And he went to silence. And what does that do? Well, for Goldsmith, that's the way he did his spiritual healing. He would sit in meditation and wait till he got the feeling that he'd had enough meditation, and then he let it go, and he went on with his day. What happened? Well, his luggage arrived. So, he didn't lose his luggage permanently, but that was his way of dealing with problems. He would go to silence, he would meditate, and that was his spiritual solution. So it seems from these two different stories that the way humans deal with problems seems to cause more problems. And that is, someone says something to you, and you get angry and you chew them out. But the monk didn't do that. He didn't chew out the father that delivered the infant. What do I say? Infat. It's fat. That's another story about a monk. But he didn't get angry at the father that brought the infant to the monastery. He just took it. So I think the moral to the story is we need to have more inner peace and less angry outbursts in reaction to, shit, they lost my motherfucking luggage again. Goldsmith didn't get into a rage, didn't chew out the lady at the luggage desk. He simply said, well, this is the way it is right now, but I need my luggage. He knew he needed his luggage. He was going to give a lecture or something, and, he had to put on a suit or something, and it was his luggage. So, he did have a problem. He didn't want to wear his smelly clothes that he'd been sweating in on this long plane ride through Africa. So he did what he did, and lo and behold, he got his luggage on time before his lecture, and he didn't look disheveled and stinky. So when I was saying infant, and it was coming out in fat, I wasn't making fun of the Chinese language. It came out, and it reminded me of another story of a monk. This monk used the words fat, P-H-A-T, which sometimes is used as a black lingo for you look great. But that's not the meaning of fat, P-H-A-T, from this monk. What this monk would do is if he came to a new location where he hadn't been before, he would go around the location. In this particular story, it was a cave, and he would go, fat, 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 fat. And according to the monk, this one was a way of clearing out negative things. What things are negative spirits. Apparently, they didn't like this word fat, whatever it means in whatever language that was. So, do you want to try that sometime? Well, what would you do? Well, I've come to my hotel room, and I open the door, and I just go in and I start going, fat, 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 fat. Would you do that? Try it sometime. See if it changes the energy of the room. What else can I tell you about energies of rooms? E. Haleakala Hugh Len, another spiritual teacher, said that rooms are much like humans. They have a consciousness. What? It's just an empty room. It's got tables and chairs and a video projector hanging from the ceiling. It's in a hotel conference area. Ihaleakala says, this room is like a human. What does that mean? Just like humans, this room gets sick of other humans, and this room needs a rest. So when I went to Ihaleakala's lecture, he said, we're taking a break, and you all have to leave. Because everyone knows that in a conference, there are breaks, and usually it's optional if you want to go to the bathroom or go get something to eat. But if you don't want to leave, you're allowed to stay, but not in Ihaleakala's lecture. He said, everyone, exit. And he said, the reason why you need to go is that I am in contact with this room, and this room has had enough of you all. It needs a break, too. So you all have to leave, and I'm going to lock the doors, and we're going to come back in 20 minutes. And you can all relax and chill out, and this room is going to relax and chill out, and it's going to be a much happier room. Ihaleakala was, I suppose he was quite a shaman. A shaman is someone who knows that things that aren't alive to a typical human have spirits. And as a shaman, you can be a shaman. How do you do it? Well, you have to remember to the time when you're about 3 or 4 years old and you're playing with dolls. I was a boy. I never played with dolls. Well, yes, you did. Everyone knows that boys play with little rubber animals, and back in my generation, they played with G.I. Joes. But children do play with toy bears, toy horses. And what do they do when they're amongst themselves? They give their toy bear a voice. My teddy bear's name is Ted. And what is well, they're playing 2 or 3 children together, and they'll pick up the bear, and they'll voice what the bear is saying. It sounds very childish. That is Shamanism 101. How do you figure out what the bear wants? You say, the bear says, and then see what comes out of your mouth. It's just imagination. It's Shamanism 101, because that bear has a spirit, the room has a spirit, and you do like a 3 or 4-year-old does. You just speak, put yourself in the same frame of mind, and see what that bear wants to say. And you do the same thing for the room. You're in the conference room and you're running the conference. You take a moment and you remember what I told you here. And you might say, lecture hall, do you need a break from the humans? And then the lecture hall says back to me, yeah, I need about half an hour to calm down. I'm not feeling too good. So please give me half an hour before you send the humans back. That's how it's done. It's very simple. Please subscribe to my videos, and if you're watching on YouTube, if you want, you can click the little bell, and it will notify you when I put up new videos. I put up new videos pretty much every day, and some days quite a lot. So if you find that you're getting too many notifications, then, you can go back and turn the little bell off or something. All the same, I appreciate you watching.